Hey there, folks. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Advisory. I hope you guys are all doing well and staying dry on this very rainy day. Today in Advisory, we are going to have a discussion as a class over two basic questions that will lead way to a longer discussion. And those two questions are, what do you want to be when you grow up? And who do you want to be when you grow up? And with each of these questions, there are some things to consider when you answer. The first question, what do you want to be when you grow up, is a pretty common question that adults typically like to ask kids. We watched a video a few months back that asked a bunch of little kids what they wanted to be when they grow up, and we got all sorts of answers. And your answer to this question will very likely change over the course of your life. And when thinking about this question, you want to think of the things that you are interested in doing. What are the things that you are interested in occupying your time with? What are some of your passions? Do any of those passions translate to a job that you might like to have? What are some jobs and careers that are out there that you know of that are interesting to you or that have always sounded interesting to you? And another thing to think about is to look to the generation ahead and see what they're doing as an example. So, who is an adult right now that has a job that you think you might enjoy? And so, when you're asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? These are all the considerations that come to mind. But while it is important to consider what you want to be when you grow up and what sorts of things you might want to do for a job or a career, it is equally, if not more important, to think about this question: who do you want to be when you grow up? And these are two different questions. Yes, it's important to talk about your job, but you also will live a life outside of that job. Ideally, the job that you have or the career that you have will give you what you need in order to live the rest of your life. And so when you're thinking about who you want to be when you grow up, it goes a little bit deeper. You think of, what kind of person do you want to be? What kinds of friends do you want to have? Because oftentimes the friends that we have around us reflect directly what kind of person we are becoming or have become. What do you want your family to look like? Whether you think of the family that you have now as you all grow together, or a family that you might create one day. And just like the last question, it's important to think about the generation ahead, to look at the adults that you look up to, maybe not because of the job that they have or how much money they make, but what kind of person they are, or what kind of family they have, or what kind of friends they're able to keep. So these are very important, smaller questions to think about when you think about the kind of person that you want to become. Who do you want to be when you grow up? And those are the questions I want you to think about. If you need to take a minute to write down some responses, maybe to reflect on these questions before you get in a circle and talk about them, I think that's fine. Teachers, you may want to choose to give folks a little bit of time to do that. But I want everybody to eventually sit in a circle to where everybody can see everyone. Get rid of the phones, all right? Put them aside, because we want to look at our friends and peers as the people that they are and listen to what they say. Just for fun, the tallest person in the room is going to go first. Sorry, tall people, but you should have thought about that before you grew so much. Say your name, make sure that everybody knows your name, and your answer to either one or all of the following questions. Number one is, what do you want to be when you grow up? Number two is, who do you want to be when you grow up? And because I know that we have asked this question in advisories in years past, if you've already answered this, you remember talking about this last year, I want you to think about whether or not any of these answers have changed as you have grown up or as you've gotten older. Has anything changed from last year to this year, or from last week to this week? Who knows? But answer one or all of these questions as you go around, whichever you're most comfortable with. You may choose to write down your answers first, but make sure that everyone in the room has a chance to answer. And then tomorrow in advisory, we're going to talk a little bit more deeply about these two questions of, what do I want to be when I grow up, and who do I want to be when I grow up? But that's all from me. Enjoy those questions and that discussion. Be good to yourself and others, and I'll see you tomorrow.